Shalom Aleichem and welcome everyone as we are preparing for Shabbat Kodesh. Shabbat Parashat Toldot. In this week's Parsha, the Parsha starts off that Yitzchak and Rivka are praying to Hashem to please give them a child. 20 years have passed and they haven't had a baby. The Ben Ish Chai wonders and says, take a look at the Imaot and the Avot. Why did Hashem make it so difficult for all them to have children? Sarah, they say, technically, physically, she wasn't able to have children. She didn't have a womb. They say the same thing about Rivka. Rachel, Leah, they say all the Imaot were naturally unable to have children. Avraham Avinu as well, somewhat sterile. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu make this? That our forefathers, our Imaot and our Avot, had such difficulty bringing children into this world. And the Ben Ish Chai gives what I believe such an amazing answer, a concept that we really have to put into our mindsets. He says, who was Avraham? Avraham was the son of Terah. What was Terah known for? I ask you, what's Terah? What did he do? What was Terah's?
The best seller in town.
The best seller of idols. He was the idol worshiper of town. He was the guy. You wanted an idol? You wanted Avodah Zarah? You showed you how to pray to it, what to do with it, how to do with it. And Avraham started to go against Terah. What did Terah do with Avraham? He gave him to Nimrod. He gave his son to Nimrod for Nimrod to kill Avraham. That means you're going against the whole religion. You know, understand? Everybody was doing Avodah Zarah, and this guy's coming around. Something wrong with my son? It's time to kill him. That's the Midrashim say that Terah gave Avram to Nimrod for him to get killed. The whole Kivshanesh was that happening there. Anyway, do we really want to be related to Terah? Sarah also, Rivka's father, Betuel, right? Every woman before she gets married is with him. Lavan, her brother, Rachel and Leah's father. When you're starting a new nation, do you really want Klal Yisrael to be related to these people? So the Ben Ish Chai says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it b'dafka that these people should not be able to have children at all, physically unable to have children. So now what happens? Now they pray to have children, and they change their nature. And now what's this baby? Is this a natural baby? Or is this a miracle child? The child is a child of Nis, of a miracle, not related to anyone naturally. And that's why the Ben Ish Chai says HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that the Imaot and the Avot had difficulty having children, so that their children shouldn't be related to their ancestors who were of the Avodah Zarah, who were very bad people. In this way now, the children of Israel, the Jewish people, are not related to anyone else. Right? We have Bil'am. Bil'am, in his blessings, he says, Mirosh Tzurim Erenu Migvaot Ashurenu Hen Am Levadad Yishkon Uvgoim, right? Uvgoim Lo Yidhashav. For from its origins I see rock-like, and from hills do I see it. Behold, it is a nation that will dwell in solitude, alone, and not be reckoned among the nations. Says the Ben Ish Chai, what does this pasuk mean? It says, the Rosh Tzurim, these rocks, these are Avot. This is Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And umigvaot ashurenu. Who's the migvaot? Who are these hills? These are our mothers. All of them were like hills and rocks. What's hills and rocks? They don't produce children. That was our fathers, our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rahim, Leah. They were like hills and mountains, like Bilam says. And because of that, that's why they're able to sit alone. That's why they're able to sit alone, because we are a nes. We are a miracle. We're not related to the other nations of the world. They say, we know the story in Tanakh, Hannah, unable to have children. Right? She prays. Eli HaKohen sees her, thinks she's a drunkard, right? Yada, yada. Finally, she has a child. She promises, I'm not going to enjoy the child and play with him and this and that. I'm going to bring him to the Beit HaMikdash. She brings him to the Beit HaMikdash at 2 years old. Bring him to the Beit HaMikdash at 2 years old. And she wants to present him to Eli, for Eli to take him on and start to teach him. And comes a question in the Beit HaMikdash as she's waiting there. If a non-Kohen kiddush chita in the Beit HaMikdash, and little Shmuel, Hannah's son, says yes. Eli comes, he's a Kohen Gadol. Eli says Shmuel's right, but since he said the halakha in front of his rabbi, there's a rabbi here. He's a Kohen Gadol, Eli. And since he's answering in front of his rabbi, we have to kill him. So Hannah says, please don't kill him. This is the child who I was praying for. This is the child that I've been praying for. Please don't kill him. So Eli says, you know what? I'll have rahmanut, I'll have mercy. We won't kill him. And he takes him on and he teaches him, and Shmuel becomes Shmuel HaNavi. Rav Reuven Shapiro, he says, what is going on here? Why is Eli first saying, I have to kill him? The kids too. He could be mochel. You see, he did. You see, in the end, he was mochel. He did forgive him and say it's okay that he answered in front of the rabbi. So why did he first tell his mother, I have to kill him? So listen to Rav Shapiro says. So Shapiro says, Eli knew who is Shmuel related to. Who is Shmuel related to? Korach. Who was Korach? Korach was an instigator. Korach was the mahloket. He was breaking away from Judaism. Eli says, your son already has chutzpah to go against the rabbis. He's supposed to listen to what the rabbi says. He's saying his own halachot. He's right, but still not the right way to do it. We got to kill him. What does Hannah answer? She says, he's not related to Korah. Why? Because I'm not able to have children. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed for this boy. There's my prayers that made this boy come. He's not related to Korah. He is a miracle child. He has no relationship to Korah. That's right. Korach saw, he didn't know what he saw. He didn't even realize that Shmuel, technically he's not related to him, although it is from his lineage. But there's no physical connection to him. This is the idea. The idea is, sometimes things look so bleak, right? It looks so bad. Can't have children, can't have this, can't have that. And a person thinks it could be terrible. But in the end of the day, sometimes these things, like the mothers being all sterile, unable to have children at a natural level, that led to the creation of Israel being separate from the rest of the world. He brings over here a story from Rabbi Hanoch Teller. And he says as follows, a true story that happened at the end of World War II. There was a concentration camp by the name of Bergen-Belsen. It's infamous because over 1 million Jews were slaughtered at that concentration camp. 1 million. Just imagine that number. And it was the final days of the war. The English were already coming in. And the Nazis, the Germans, knew this. And they were worried, what would the English do to them, you know? So they told all the prisoners that we want you to say good stuff about us. So today we're going to be administering extra bread, rolls, and soup. And now everyone got online and they were starting to give out bread. Roll after roll, everyone got one. A bowl of soup and one bread. This you never got throughout the whole war. Now they started giving it. And one Jew who already for the past 5 years been through so much trauma, so much everything, he just wanted to eat. He even thought freedom, if you would give him a choice between freedom and food, he would choose food. That's how hungry he was. And so the day that came that these Nazis started to give out these rolls, he got online and he saw they had 7 rolls left. And he was exactly the 7th person from the table. He gets there, he gets the final roll. He takes it, and as he walks away, he sees the Nazis come back with another whole bag of rolls. Realizing they don't know who got it, who didn't get, he goes back online. He goes back online, he waits his turn, and he gets another roll. He's hiding both of his rolls on him, and he starts to walk away. As he's walking away, some of the Russian soldiers who were prisoners of war in the concentration camp over there walk over to him and tell him, Jew, we saw what you did. Maybe the Germans didn't, but we did. And we're about to take both rolls off you. They take both breads from him and they start to beat him up. And he's already just bones, skin and bones. And he says, they beat me up like completely, and I thought I was going to die. He says, I started davening to Hashem, and I said, how could it be? 5 years I lasted in this camp. My whole family died. Why couldn't you, Hashem, he says, Hashem, why couldn't you kill me when my family died? To die with them. Now I have to die because of these 2 Russians who are taking my bread from me. And they beat him up, and he blacks out. He blacks out. He says, I thought I was dead, but I woke up in the morning, and the first time in the past 5 years that I saw sunshine. The Nazis used to wake them very early, put them to labor and stuff like that. He says, I get the sunshine, and I just don't hear anything. Nothing. No sounds. I start to walk around the camp, and everywhere I'm walking, there are dead bodies. I see no Germans. All the Germans ran away. And he says, I'm looking, and I see the 2 Russians who beat me up, dead on the floor. And then I realized, he says, that all the breads and all the soup that the Nazis gave were all full of poison. And I took 2 breads, and I thought these Russians were killing me. They took my breads and everything. And he says, in the end of the day, what happened? What happened? He survived. He didn't end up eating the bread, and he survived. Sometimes what you think is the worst thing turns out to be something that can save your life. I saw from a Moshe Meir Weiss Shlita, he says, in this week's Parsha, you have that Yaakov goes to steal the berachot, goes to steal the blessings. Right? Rivka sent him to go get the blessings. And then Esau finds out and he hates him. And Moshe Meir asks the question. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, you made twins, Yaakov and Esau. And we're told that Yaakov was made first. He was formed first, whatever that means. Yaakov was holding on to the heel of Esau. Hashem, why couldn't you make it that Yaakov came out first? That's it. Hashem can do anything, right? Why have Esau hate us? Have Yaakov come out first. All's going to be good. Yitzchak will give the bracha to Yaakov, which is meant for Yaakov. Yaakov wouldn't have to do any sneak arounds. Rav Moshe Weiss explains that Kadosh Baruch Hu did it on purpose. That Yaakov was born second. Why? In order for us not to be associated with Esav. Esav is a Rasha. Right? Imagine everything was cool. Esav wasn't trying to kill Yaakov. What would happen? We would be friendly with Esav. What happened when Jews were in areas where the Goyim were very nice to us and they assimilated and they intermarried? Chas v'shalom, chas v'chayilat, so many bad things happened. When they were nice to us, Kadosh Baruch Hu b'dafka made it in such a way that Esav should hate us, so hen am levadai tishkon, that we should be able to live alone. That we are Jewish, we're not able to assimilate. Do you understand? We might think it's bad. This whole thing, yeah, Esav is hate. No! Victor Miller writes, he says, if not for the fact that there's such animosity between certain Arabs and the Jews, he said there would have been a terrible catastrophe of intermarriage. He says there are cousins. Their women are nice. The women are pretty. And he says for those who are not so frum, there would have been a big chance for intermarriage. He says, why? But why is it so little now? Because they hate us so much that today they can put 2 bombs in Jerusalem, kill a 15-year-old boy who wants to associate with them. This hatred keeps us away from them. Not only that, imagine Esav was born second. Imagine Esav didn't hate us. Imagine everything was good. Would Yaakov ever run away to Lavan's house? No. Yitzchak would have gone and sent his servant to go find a shidduch for Yaakov, like Abraham did for Yitzchak. If everything worked out right, Rachel would come back and live with Yaakov. Just Rachel. When Eliezer went, he didn't go and get Rivka and 3 other girls. He didn't do that. He got 1. If Yaakov didn't have to run away from Esav, they never would have been the 12 tribes of Israel. Because the fact that Yaakov had to run away to Lavan, he met his Rachel, his intended one, and then he had 3 other wives. And then Shiftei Kah came out. So what Yaakov may have thought was a tragedy, that Esav was fighting with him, and he had to run away, and all that. In the end, what was it? It was the creation of Israel. I said it many times, but there's a famous story on the same topic, that there was this European Jewish immigrant to America, and he wanted to get a job. So he was looking in the Jewish classifieds, and he saw that a shul had a job, the position of a shamish, person to come, clean up, set up, do things. So he went and he applied for the job. So they interviewed him, and during the interview they asked him, do you speak English? He said, no, I'm new, I speak Yiddish, whatever other language he knew, Polish, Russian. They said to him, well, if that's the case, you can't read and write in English, we don't want you here. And he didn't get the job. So what did he start doing? He needs to make money. So he started to buy some knickknacks, toys, different things like that. And he started with a push cart in Manhattan, in the streets of Manhattan. And he started to sell on the streets. And he started to make money. So much so, he was able to afford another push cart. And he hired someone to sell for him the other things. He ended up having 5, 6, 7. By the time his business started to pick up, he was able to have all over until he made himself to his own company. And he started being a distributor of toys and knickknacks and stuff like that. So much so that he once ended up with a big toy company and he was signing a contract with them. And he came there and he had his lawyer read to him everything that was on the papers. And he had the lawyer sign for him. So the lawyer and people from the other company said, 1 second, you're not able to read yourself? You can't read English? He said, no, I can't read and I can't write in English. They said to him, wow, you're such a rich guy. Imagine if you did know how to read and write in English. Imagine what would you be? He says, I know exactly what I would have been. I would have been a Shabbos cleaning and fixing things. And I never would have been. Sometimes what we think, this is the worst thing, it's a terrible thing. Adarabah. It's exactly the opposite. And that's why the Imahot and the Avot didn't have the ability to naturally have children. In order for us to be the miracle nation, not related to anyone else. Okay, let's move on to our second lesson from this week's parasha. There was they say over Maisa a story that when seltzer was invented, they took it to one of the Gedolei Hador and they gave him to drink seltzer. He was middle of learning and he ignored the cup. He's minding his entire. So one of his Talmidim said to him, Rabbi, you got to drink it. You got to drink it now. If you don't drink it now, all the fizz, all the carbonated water is going to escape, all the gas. It's going to get flat. You got to drink it now. And the rabbi said, what? A drink that I have to drink quick. A drink that's going to tell me when I have to drink it? This drink I don't have nothing to do with. What's going on? Why is he refusing to drink seltzer? If you remember, Friday night, we said over a true story with the Rambam. Right? The Rambam, Maimonides, famous doctor in Egypt, and other physicians and psychologists said that they can train animals, cats, to behave like humans. And they spent the whole year training the cats to become waiters and this and that. And they invited the Rambam and the waiter with the bow tie, the coat, the towel and everything. He invites him in, sits him down, offers dinner. And then they say, see Rambam, we can do it. Rambam says, sure. And then he pulls out a mouse, puts it out. The mouse starts to run. And everything the cats had in their hands, all the trays of soup, to the ground. The cats jumped out of their bow ties and jackets, and they run after the mouse. The way we explained it is that people are like this cat. When they see a mouse, they react to it. What's really going on? Why are people running after this? I remember when Rosh Yeshiva Rav Belsky would explain, he says some people think there's no more slavery in the world, right? There's no slavery. Jews are not slaves in Egypt. There's no slavery. He said you should know that there's more slavery today than there ever was. Why? Like Rav Sion is saying, why? Not just to the money. Rav Belsky's mashal was like this. He says, today people are slaves. His example, his dogma was potato chips. Why? 12 o'clock at night. This is mashal. 12 o'clock at night. The person knows eating these things right now before he goes to sleep is probably the worst thing he can do. But what is he going to do? He sees the potato chip. He has no ability to control himself. He's going to eat it. There's so many desires in life, like money. Person knows he shouldn't be working now. He shouldn't go. He has to take care of his health, do his things. But he's going to... His instincts, his natural instincts, are taking over his ability to use his brain, to use his intellect. Who is being sholet ahu? Who is having more control? Is it your desires or is it your intellect? Everybody has a choice. A lot of times things happen in life. What happens? The Gemara says a person doesn't sin till the ruach shtus comes into him. Right? What is it? The spirit of craziness comes into him. What does that mean, spirit of craziness? The way I've understood it always is that when he lets his natural instincts take over, that's what comes into him. He's unable to use his intellect anymore. And then he starts to sin. You know, Rav Simcha Zissel, the Alter of Kelm, once said that if Darwin, right, you know, Darwin was the theory that people come from monkeys. So Rav Simcha Zissel said that if Darwin would have seen his Rebbe, Harav Yisrael Salanter, Zecha Tzadik Libracha, he never would have said that man came from monkeys. What? No. But if he would have seen Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, he never would have said it. So they explain as follows. Why? Darwin and his Chaverim were somewhat honorable people. How do they come to the conclusion that people come from monkeys? So he says as follows. He said, look at people. People act like animals. They have something they see and they run after it. They don't use their brains. They're not able to control themselves. It's all a animal desire and an animal instinct. So of course it makes sense to say that we come from animals. But he said that if Darwin and his friends would have seen Rabbi Saul Salanter, the man who had total self-control over his entire guf, he was able to control everything. They would never would come to that idea that men come from animals. You know, it's interesting. On the day, and in the parasha, it tells us that Esav comes very hungry. And he tells Yaakov, Haliteni nam and Adom Adom hazeh, ki ayef anochi, ken kira shemo Edom. Right? He says, give me this red stuff. I'm very tired. That's why they call him Edom. They call him the red one. Now the question is, the Midrash says, on that day he did a bunch of sins. He did Giyu Arayot. He was with someone he shouldn't have been with. He killed someone. He said there is no Hashem. No Tchiyat HaMeitim, right? Is that the one? And then he said, I don't want the Bechorah. Give me the red stuff instead. And the Torah calls him, instead of mentioning all these terrible sins, Torah says the worst thing that he did was that he sold his Bechorah. Why? The Sefer Madrigat Adam says, what is Edom? Edom was his title. Why was Edom given his title? Why was the bean still red? Because it was raw. It wasn't ready. And Esav said, I can't wait. Esav came and said, I want it now. His desire was to eat it now. Esav says, I want the food now. I can't wait for it to be cooked. Not only that, he doesn't even want to chew it. He says, Anna, I'm opening my throat. Just pour it down. He has no time to chew. He wants his food, and he wants it now. That's Esav. That's the Yetzer Hara. That's the animal desire, the animal instinct in a person. Can't wait. Rabotai, you know what's the difference between a tzaddik and a rasha? Esav comes to the lashon of asu that it's already done. He wants it done already. When you want, I want it done yesterday. Someone who wants it quick. Yaakov comes to the lashon of ekev. Ekev means heel. What is a heel? What do you use your heel for? To walk. What do you use your heel for? You use it to walk, to take steps. You see, the difference between Esav and Yaakov is Esav wants it now. And Yaakov takes it slow. He works at it. When Ruth comes to Boaz and tells Boaz, we got to get married, what does Boaz say to her? He says, let's wait for Boker. Let's wait for the morning. What does that mean? He said, let's make bikoret. Let's make searches, checking out. Let's take it easy. We can't run into things. Tzaddikim don't jump into things. They think it all through. Yaakov, he's already a very old man, 70-something years old when he ends up to meet Rachel. And he tells Rachel, what? I'm going to work for you 7 years. Get married and then work. And then it says, to him it was like a few days. Few days, it was 7 years. Explain. Yaakov is a tzaddik. He doesn't run into a marriage because he wants to now. He knows he's building Shiftei Kol. He knows he's building Klal Yisrael. In order to do that, you got to get to the right madriga. You got to get to the right place. You can't rush these things. You have to go slowly, right? This generation has been called by a lot the disposable generation. No one wants to clean anything, just use it once, throw it out. It's also called the fast food, right? The fast food generation. Everything has to be fast. How many news reports we heard of someone's burger was 3 minutes over, right? It took 3 minutes to come out extra. And what happened? Someone got shot, someone got killed, someone got stabbed because their burger was 3 minutes late in the restaurant by the goyim. Why? Can't wait 3 minutes? Some people, they want to learn Torah. How they want to learn Torah? They want to know the whole Torah and get the certification and everything in 6 months. On 1 foot they want to know, and not only that, not only on 1 foot they want to know it, they want to get a full night's sleep too. And they want to know Yerushalmi and Bavli and all the Shulchan Aruch. Yaakov Avinu and Esav is this difference. The ability to wait. The ability to work. Esav comes and says, I'm tired. Tired of what? I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of working. They finish elementary school. Esav says, I'm done. He goes out to the Sadeh. Yaakov says, I'm not done. I'm going to learn more. I'm going to go back. He takes it easy. He takes it slow. But he keeps going and going and going. But Esav is ayef. He's tired. He wants it now, and he's not willing to work anymore. They say, Rav Galinsky once saw Rav Shach in his older age. And he saw Rav Shach was running. And Rav Shach was an older man. So Yaakov Galinsky said to Rav Shach, why are you running? What did Rav Shach answer? Rav Shach said, I'm running because I can't walk. He says, I cannot be tired. If I'm going to be tired, it's over. A person has to be akev, is to keep working. Yes, he has to walk in madrigot. He has to go up level by level. There was once a child prodigy, a geni, very smart child. And he knew all the Torah from a very young age. And when he came to America, he became a yeshiva here. And when he's here in America, he once saw children playing outside with games and bikes and this and that. And this man who was a child genius says, if I had their opportunity to play games the way they are, I would have even been a greater genius than I am today. I said, how? He says, because life is not about skipping steps. A lot of people want to skip. I want to be in I want to finish high school already. I want to finish college. I want to do college in 1 year. Whatever it is. People just want to do things fast. That's not the way. You have to keep doing. And so from this lesson, we learned two ideas. Number one idea is you have to be in charge. Your intellect has to be in charge. Not everything has to be now, not your base desire. But at the same point, on the other side, you cannot be Esav and say, I'm tired and I want it now. But rather, you have to keep walking. To be Yaakov, keep walking. Or if needed, run. But do things step by step by step. Okay, let's move on to our final lesson from this week's parasha.
How about the one character, Zirizut?
Yes, zirizut, alacrity, doing things quick. What does that mean? We'll have another share in the Be'ez Hashem, but the kitzer, alacrity, doing things zirizut, means once you know what's the appropriate thing to do that quickly. For example, you have to go pray every morning. So run to shul. Not daven fast. Okay? Run to shul.
Earlier.
That's rizut. Okay? Go to shul early. When the zman is, you go. But doesn't mean daven quick. You have to know where alacrity works and when it's not to work. If a person is in a state of bahalo, a state of confusion, he doesn't know what to do. You don't just do anything. First, you have to figure out what to do. You don't use rizut when you don't know what to do. Well, I don't know what to do. Is there a cliff or not? Forget it. Just pedal the metal and let's figure out if it's a cliff. You don't do that. Obviously, you're going to go out and check what's there. Once you realize it's a road, you can go fast. That's Parshat how rizut is used. Okay, now, in this week's Midrash, we have a statement as follows. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. כל ימי הייתי משמש את אבא, ולא שימשתי אותו אחד ממאה ששימש עשיו את אביו. Shimon ben Gamliel says, all my days I took care of my father, and I never came close, even 1/100th of the quality that Esav did for his father. He says, for example, Shimon ben Gamliel says, when I would attend to my father, I would attend to him with filthy garments. And when I go outside, I would wear clean garments. But Esav, when he attended to his father, he wore royal garments. And when he went outside, he took the dirty garments. Amar en kevodo shel haba liyot mishamsho el bigdei malchut. He said, I can't take care of my father unless I'm in royal garments. And Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, I didn't do that, Esav did. I took care of my father, but I never took care of Esav. I never took care of my father like Esav took care of his father. The Midrashim continue. Midrash Tanhuma says that Yitzchak says to Esav, go sharpen your sword, sharpen your implements, your bow and arrow, go and get food for me. Esav, we all know, had the special beggar that Nimrod had that came from Adam Rishon. He put it on, and all the animals went listening to him. He could have gone outside, put on that coat, all the animals would come there, shech the 2 animals, bring it to Yitzchak. He didn't do that. He left that beggar at home with Yaakov, then put it on. Why didn't Esav take it? That's right. He listened to his father. His father said, take instruments. I take instruments. Right? A lot of times you tell your kids to do something, and you tell them to do it one way, and they went to him and they did it another way. Why did this way? Oh, it's easier, it's better. I thought it was going to be better. But that's not the Esav. Esav, my father said to do it this way, I'm going to do it. Not only that, the Midrashim saying that he wanted to get a lot of food for his father. And he went to hunt for a deer. He got one deer, he tied it up, and then he went for a second deer. And we went for his second deer. The first deer escaped, and he went to get now another deer. And he went back and forth looking for 2 deers. Each time he ties it up, he goes away. And he doesn't stab it, he doesn't hurt it. He says, it's for my father. I'll keep running after it. He did it so much that Yaakov had time to get in and out. But Esav, look how much he loves his father. He's doing everything for his father. And then, all of a sudden, the Midrash in Tanhuma 11 says, and once Esav walks in, this Esav Rasha, this evil man, he starts to talk to his father in contempt, meaning he doesn't like his father. He says to his father, Yakum avi ve'yochal mitzed beno. Stand, my father, right? Rise, my father, and eat from what your son gives you. Bevor Rasha ba gambuz. When a wicked man comes, there also comes contempt. Yakum avi hu haya gozer alav. He's commanding his father what to do. Esav Rasha. Only Esav can do this. Davar Pella. 1 second. Up until now, the Midrashim are saying, Mishum Gamil says, Esav had what? Kibbud of Aim, no one has like him. Even the greatest rabbis cannot compare to the Kibbud of Aim of Esav. And then all of a sudden, the Midrash says, Esav Rasha, he walks in, he's commanding his father, he's talking with disgust in his voice. How do we understand this? There's a famous story that's told over. This is one of my, I like the story. I don't share it that often, but I really like the story. There was once a bachur, a young man, he was looking for some work. And he didn't have a college degree. He didn't have much of anything. So he's looking in the newspaper, what can I work, where can I work? And he finds an ad, part-time job, easy work, no experience required. So he calls the number, and he's contact to the zoo. They tell him to come for an appointment. He comes to the zoo, and the zoo director says to him, listen, I'll tell you what the job is. We had a lion, and the lion died. I can't run a zoo without a lion. We ordered new lions from Tasmania, but until then, we need someone to be the lion. The old lion that died, we cleaned him out from the inside. We made a zipper. We need someone to get into it and to behave like a lion. And this way, when people come, they'll see a lion. And now the guy understood, well, you don't need any experience. You just have to act like a lion. So he said, you know what? I'll do it. He says, okay, you got to show up to the zoo 4 o'clock in the morning. So no one's here. No one will see you. And he said, okay. He comes the next morning. He's there at 4 a.m. They give him the fur costume. He puts it on. He looks at himself in the mirror. He looks like a real lion. They take him in the car. They drive him to the lion's den. They open the gates. They throw him in there. And then they lock the gates. He looks up and he sees a lioness, a female lion, coming his way. He's frozen terror. He's so scared. He forgot to ask if there are any other lions in the den. So he gets, as he's coming closer and closer, he screams out, Shema Yisrael. And to his astonishment, all of a sudden, the female lion answers, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. He says, what? And she says to him, shh, soon the visitors are going to come. He can't be talking. He says, but I don't know how to roar. So she starts to teach him how to roar, and they start practicing. It's a whole competition. And so it was. For the first day, she and he are roaring, and everybody's coming and enjoying. At a quarter to four, someone comes into the zoo director's office. And he comes with the small children. He says to the director, I'm going to tell all the newspapers what is going on here. I'm reporting you to the news. You're tricking the public. You're committing fraud. The director says, what? Calm down. What are you talking about? He said, today, my children came to the zoo. They wanted to see the lion. I took them to the lions. He says, good. I'm happy. He says, we came to the lions. And right when we got there, I heard one lion telling the other lion, shh, people are coming. Start to roar. And then they were roaring. I'm going to tell everyone what you're doing. You don't have lions here. And the director tells them, whoa. What are you getting excited for? What were they doing the whole time you were there? What were they doing? He says for the majority of the time they were roaring like lions. He says to him, for 1 second that you heard them talking, you think they're not lions? They're lions. The whole time you were there, they were roaring. Just for 1 second, they were talking. And the man says, once they talk for 1 second, then you know they're not lions. You see, Esav was very good with putting on appearances. Esav was able to show the world that he was doing kibud avayim. But sometimes, even if a person does many, many great acts, that little one fine detail that he does can show his true intention of it all. I'm not saying always. So if it's a legit mistake, it's a legit mistake. But sometimes a person's true feelings come out in a small little detail. And that's what our Chachamim were looking at. Chachamim said, Esav, no one could compare to the greatness that he did. But Esav was a Rasha. He said to Yitzchak, Kumavi, get up, my father, giving him commands. And that already showed us the truth of who he was. And so, Rabotai, so in brief, to review our 3 lessons from this week's parasha. Lesson number 1, bad things are really good. Can be really amazing. A person just has to have full emunah in a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Our second lesson from this week's parasha was we have to get in control of ourselves and we have to never stop working. And our third and final lesson is to be careful when we're doing good stuff to make sure that every detail really comes out good. Because if not, it might really show that we didn't want to do it the right way or we didn't have the proper intentions of doing it. And so with these lessons, I'm wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom. Toda Rabah.
Shabbat.